Chapter 16, Part 2. Purchase pasteurized items. Sterile storage areas are also used to store pasteurized products from outside vendors. These products are typically received in shipping containers made of corrugated cardboard, although other forms of shipping containers exist. These outer shipping containers should be removed in a controlled breakout area, as the outside box has been exposed to environmental challenges including weather, insects, fungus, and other microorganisms. See 1613 for an example. Sterile items should not be removed from their outside box on the receiving dock unless there is an area protected from the outside environment that has been designed for this purpose. Received items should be delivered to an area close to the sterile storage area where the items can be removed from the outside box. Sterile items should be placed inside a clean enclosed transport cart, tote bin, or container so the items can be delivered to the storage area, the sterile storage area. Outside shipping cartons should never be allowed in the sterile storage area, as they are a major source of contamination. Transfer bins and carts must be cleaned on a regular basis to help keep the sterility of the items intact. Cardboard boxes should be removed from this area as quickly as possible to decrease the chance of cross-contamination from the cardboard to the sterile items. Items should be handled gently during transfer from the box to the transport cart or container. Place items loosely. Do not pack items tightly, as it may compromise the item's sterility. Transport items directly to the sterile storage area. Never leave sterile items unattended where others may have access to the items. Curious staff or visitors may handle items and unintentionally damage the package, causing the items to become unsterile. Carefully place items on the shelves. See figure 1614. Do not pack items tightly, as it will compromise the package sterility and may damage items inside the package. Always follow proper stock rotation procedures. Event-related sterility. Shelf life is related to events that may compromise the pack's sterility. Event-related sterility is a concept that sterile products remain sterile until an event occurs to make them unsterile. The following list describes events that may render a package unsterile. This list is not inconclusive, as there are many events that can compromise sterility. Product life. Some products and packaging materials will degrade over time. Using these items once they have expired is unsafe. As items begin to degrade, an event has occurred that can affect the item's sterility. Type of packaging material utilized. Many packaging materials have defined a useful life. CS technicians must be sure to follow the manufacturer's recommendation for shelf life before and after sterilization, as the product's ability to perform appropriately is diminished after the stated expiration date. One of the events that could occur after the expiration date is loss of microbial barrier protection of the packaging. When this happens, items will not remain sterile. Condition of the package. Package integrity is very important. Rough handling, poor storage practices, moisture, dust, and poor transportation procedures are some of the events that can occur to damage a package. Once a package is damaged, the items inside must be considered unsterile. See package 16.15. Storage transportation conditions. Clean, dry shelving in the storage area or in the transportation carts is required to keep items sterile. Whether the shelving or carts are opened or closed can affect item sterility. Open shelving allows the greater chance of contamination from the environment or personnel working in the area. Temperature and humidity must be monitored, and ensuring the absence of dust and insects helps maintain package integrity. Handling. Lack of proper handling can cause items to become unsterile. Handling items while they are still warm, overhandling items, and the hygiene of the personnel handling the items are all considered events. All sterile items should be monitored for events that may render them unsterile. If any event occurs to jeopardize an item, the item in question must be removed and processed or disposed of according to the facility's policy. Whenever there is a doubt regarding the sterility of a package, the item should be considered unsterile. Basic storage guidelines. Once items are delivered to the sterile storage area, they need to be carefully placed in their designated storage space. It doesn't matter if the items are processed in-house or purchased outside the facility, the guidelines for storage of sterile items are the same. The primary conditions that can adversely affect the ability of a sterile package to maintain its sterility until it is opened by the user at the point of use include moisture and liquid fluid contamination, dirt and dust, physical damage to the package including abrasions, cuts, tears, punctures, broken seals, and the breakdown of packaging material. For example, some plastics become brittle. And storage environments should be clean, dry, and easily accessible by authorized personnel. Stored items should be arranged so that packages are not crushed, bent, or compressed. If the air inside the package is forced out, it can potentially rupture closures and seams. Additionally, by forcing the air out of the pack, a void is created. When the source of compression is released, an example, the weight on its top is removed, a slight suction can be created by the void. This can potentially establish conditions for the packs to suck in contaminated air. Per fire codes, stored items should be placed at least 18 inches below the sprinkler heads to allow for proper air circulation and allow for water to flow unimpeded during a smoke or fire situation. Spacing must also be planned and maintained to prevent packages from being touched, bumped, or leaned upon when the room is cleaned or when personnel are storing or retrieving packs. Sterile packages should not be stored near or under sinks, exposed water pipes, sewage lines, or air conditioning drains. Always place sterile items on clean surfaces. Do not trust the package barrier to protect contents from the soil. When placing items on shelves or when removing them from the shelf, always check package integrity, including the filter area of rigid containers, and ensure all external chemical indicators have turned to the proper color. If sterilized in-house, be sure the load lot control number label is still intact and all seals are securely in place. See figure 1616. If the item has an expiration date, ensure the item has not expired. Do not place anything on the shelf until the items have been checked and verified to be intact. Sterile items should fit on the shelf. They should not overhang the edge of the shelf. The shelf edge may cause damage to the item, and the overhang can create a safety hazard. Place heavy items on middle shelves to allow for safe lifting. Light packages should be placed on the higher shelves. Always lift packages on items. Do not drag them across the shelf, as that will damage the packaging and may damage the shelf. Handle all items gently. Rough handling of sterile packages can cause damage to the packaging, causing the items to become unsterile. Never place unsterile items on the shelves with sterile items. Unsterile items may contaminate the sterile product. See figure 1617. Arrangement of instruments and supplies. Storage areas for instruments and supplies must be carefully planned. The goal is to help ensure that the items are easy to locate and are protected from events that may cause them to become unsterile. Proper use of stock rotation principles is also important to ensure that older items are used first and that supplies with time-sensitive expiration dates are used before they must be discarded. The logical arrangement of stock improves efficiency and decreases staff injuries and facilitates appropriate stock rotation. CS professionals should review the manufacturer's IFU to determine if there are any special storage requirements. Sterile items should be arranged so they are easy to locate. This may best be accomplished by organizing them alphabetically by name. functionality, or specialty. Related items shelved together or numerically based on stock codes. Shelves should be clearly labeled, designating where items should be stored, including pertinent ordering information. See figure 1618. Stock rotation. Sterile packages should be arranged and maintained to allow stock rotation on a first in, first out basis, FIFO or FIFO system. This ensures that the oldest items are used first. The longer a sterilized item remains in storage, the greater chance the item can become contaminated due to handling and environmental issues such as dust. Even if the items do not become contaminated, it may not be able to be opened aseptically. Practicing a FIFO inventory control system prevents a neglected pack syndrome, where hard-to-reach packs remain in the storage much longer than the others, and they are more likely to be damaged or contaminated. Note: items with expiration dates should be used in the order of their expiration dates, with the items that will expire first being used first. First in, first out, FIFO or FIFO, a stock rotation system in which the oldest product, that which has been in storage the longest, is used first. The goal of stock arrangement system is to provide minimal pack handling while allowing FIFO rotation. Many facilities use a left to right system. The newest item is placed on the left and the older items are removed to the right. The pack on the far right is the first to be picked up for use. Other facilities place the new packs in from the back of the shelf and pick the oldest from the front of the shelf. Satellite storage areas. Many facilities store sterile items in user departments. Storage areas for sterile supplies located outside of the CS department, such as the operating room, must follow the same guidelines as stated above and be included in quality assurance and infection prevention audits conducted for the sterile storage area in the department. Regardless of where a sterile item is stored, it must be protected from events that can render it unsterile. If satellite storage sites are used, personnel responsible for the areas should be trained about requirements for sterility maintenance. Cleaning. To maintain product sterility, it is important to keep the sterile storage area clean and dust debris free. Standards for environmental cleaning should be the same as those for the operating room and labor and delivery suite. The floor should be damp mopped and trash should be emptied at least daily. Walls and vents should also be a routine schedule for cleaning. Shelving, racks, and other storage devices should be routinely cleaned. The actual frequency depends on several factors. Closed shelving usually does not need to be cleaned as frequently as open shelving. The air filtration system in the storage area is also a factor in determining cleaning schedules. The better the filtration system functions, the less frequently the area may need to be cleaned. When cleaning the shelves, all items should be carefully removed from the shelf. Using a facility-approved solution, wipe the entire shelf, including the sides and the top. Alcohol may be used as a drying agent, if approved by the facility's protocols. After the shelves, base, and shelf bottom have been cleaned, the wheel should also be cleaned. Be sure the shelves are completely dry before placing items back on the shelf. Also, clean and completely dry all storage bins before placing them back on the clean shelf. Carefully check each item for package integrity and ensure seals are intact. Look for proper external indicator color change and check expiration dates. Ensure the load control number is still on the in-house processed items. As with most process, sterile storage cleaning should be documented and the documentation maintained for use in the department's quality assurance program. The process for sterile storage self-cleaning is outlined in figure 16.19. 1619 is at the top of page 353, entitled Shelf Cleaning, and I will read this chart to you. 1. Remove all items from the shelves and storage bins. 2. Wipe entire shelf, including sides and top, using a facility-approved solution. 3. Clean all bins and shelf organizers using a facility-approved solution. 4. After cleaning surfaces touched by sterile packages, clean the shelf base under the bottom of the shelves and the wheels. 5. Allow to dry thoroughly. Note, alcohol may be used as a drying agent if approved by the facility's protocols. 6. Wait until shelves, bins, and organizers are completely dry. 7. Place items back in their assigned location. Check items for package integrity, external indicator change, expiration dates, and lot control numbers for in-house sterilized items. And finally, 8. Document cleaning per the facility's quality assurance requirements. Sterile storage professionals. All CS professionals should maintain a high level of personal hygiene, including clean hair, body, nails, no artificial nails, and clothing at all times. CS technicians should frequently wash their hands or use waterless hand sanitizer according to departmental policy. Fingernails should be short to reduce the microbial load under the nail and to minimize the potential for rupturing packages and pouches. Jewelry is discouraged because it can tear holes in the packaging and may harbor microorganisms. Rings, neck, and wrist jewelry may become caught in the package, causing damage to the sterilized item and the wearer. If badge lanyards are worn, they should be placed in a pocket or contained in some manner to avoid contacting them in the shelving or of a package. Lanyards should also be cleaned on a routine basis so they do not contaminate the sterile items. Personnel working in the sterile storage area must be properly trained in all aspects of the sterile process. Authorized individuals entering a storage area must follow hand hygiene policies, wear proper attire, be in good health, and maintain good personal hygiene. Transporting sterile items. Transportation of sterile packages should be done in a manner that protects the sterility of the items. It is important to follow the department's established procedures to ensure the items are delivered intact and ready to use. There are several ways to transport sterile items. Regardless of the method used, it is important to protect the items from crushing, bending, falling, or other damage. See 16.20. Hand carry. It is often faster and easier to hand carry small, lightweight items to the point of use area. Items being delivered should be protected from the environment and air currents from hallway traffic. Carefully place the items to be delivered in a protective cover, such as a dust cover or a cleaned closed bin. Keep items away from the body to avoid contaminating them. The sterile items should be held with both hands, keeping the item flat so instruments and products do not shift or become damaged. Transporting items by cart is easier and safer than hand carrying items. As with shelving, transport carts can be opened or closed. The bottom shelf should be solid to protect the items from dirt and dust contamination. When transporting with open carts, including wheeled tables, items should be covered and protected against hallway traffic. Items should be placed on the cart flat to protect contents. Trays and packs should not overhang the edges of the carts. Closed carts are the transportation method of choice, as they provide the best protection for sterile items. See figure 16.21. Carefully place items inside the cart. Do not overcrowd the cart. The cart doors should close and latch without touching the sterile item. All carts should be kept in good repair, and cart doors should be properly attached and dent-free. Wheels should be properly maintained so the cart will move easily and quietly. Elevators or lifts. Many facilities have dedicated clean elevators for sterile product transportation. These elevators should be used for clean and sterile transportation only. Soiled items should be returned using an elevator designated for soiled items. When using a dedicated lift, items must still be contained because air currents from outside the lift can contaminate sterile items. Vehicle. Healthcare facilities today may transport sterile items between sister facilities into off-site clinics and physicians' offices. Items should not be transported in the trunk of a car because temperature and humidity levels cannot be properly controlled. There must be a clear separation of clean and soiled items within the transport vehicle. The vehicle must be completely enclosed and in good repair, with no holes in the walls that will allow outside contaminants to enter. Sterile items should be placed inside clean, protective bins or carts. Protect items from movement within the enclosed device, as packaging and instruments can be damaged from movement during transport. The cart or bin must be properly secured inside the vehicle to keep it from moving. Temperature and humidity levels should be monitored. When the vehicle is not running, items should not be left inside the vehicle for extended periods of time, as condensation may form inside the sterile packages, making them unsterile. The transport vehicle should be cleaned on a regular basis. Transportation guidelines. Keeping items sterile during transportation is the #1 priority. Below are a few basic guidelines to follow when transporting sterile items. The importance of avoiding contact with sterile packages cannot be overemphasized. This includes bumping into, leaning on, bumping back into, touching when counting, and excessively handling the packages. When a package is moved or handled, it should not be cradled. Any sterile items that are dropped onto the floor should be considered contaminated and removed, even if no damage has been apparent. Jarring or compression upon landing can force dust and airborne microorganisms into the package. The floor could be wet, sharp edges of trays could puncture through the wrap, and dirt can be carried onto the storage shelf to contaminate the next pack placed in that location. CS technicians and end users must be trained to recognize any signs of sterility compromise. A log of sterile pack contamination events should be maintained and analyzed to implement preventative actions. When removing the package from the shelf, its front should be lifted from underneath with one hand. The other hand should be placed midway under the package, and the unit should then be lifted off the shelf. Packages should not be dragged or pushed against the surface because this causes friction or abrasion, which can potentially cause a pressure cut or snag and compromise sterility. Shelf liners help create a cushion between the hard surface of the shelf and the bottom of the packages. These are recommended if the facility is experiencing tearing on pack bottoms. This is usually a great concern with heavy packs, procedure sets, and especially instrument trays. The edges of the metal trays and weight of the instruments increase the adverse impact of the friction. Burrs or sharp edges on the shelves themselves may also contribute to sterile pack damage. When packs are removed from the storage, they must be carefully inspected for expiration date, tears, abrasions, tracks, worn areas, punctures, compromised seals, dirt, and evidence of moisture. The external CI must be checked to ensure that the package was subjected to the sterilization process. If any adverse conditions are noted, the pack should be considered contaminated. The majority of holes in wrap come from mishandling. If the pack contents are reusable, they should be removed from the packages for processing. If the contents are disposable, they should be discarded. Single-use wrap should not be reused after it has been sterilized. All items should be protected from damage, moisture, humidity, and dust during transport. Transport carts and bins should be cleaned before use. Carts and bins should be completely dried before items are placed on them or in them. Carts should be kept in good repair, both for package integrity and staff safety. Doors should be dent-free and able to close securely. Wheels must move smoothly and quietly. Sterile items transported off-site to another facility must be transported in a vehicle specifically designed for sterile transport. The vehicle should have a temperature and humidity control and enough space to completely separate clean from dirty items. Sterile items should never be left unattended in an unsecured area. Individuals unfamiliar with sterile product handling may inadvertently contaminate the item. Policies and procedures for sterile item port should always be followed. Conclusion. Maintaining product sterility during storage and transport is one of the most important central service job tasks. If unsterile instruments or supplies are used, patients could acquire an infection. Carefully following written storage and transport procedures and keeping the area clean and maintained will help keep patients safe. Central service terms: barrier packaging, breakout, lux, first in, first out, or FIFO or FIFO. Conclusion of chapter 16.